Hello, my lovely friends, my lovely people, and my lovely students. How are you all doing? I know your responses have become a positive response because go to so we are drawing to our exams and we we have been preparing gradually to meet the expected needs of these exams, to meet the expected good grades that we've always wished for. And I know our Lord is not going to disappoint us because for us who have been preparing enough, we know we have been preparing and He also help us. And for our students who have not really been active in their academic studies, I plead that we start now because it's at this level that you can make the good grades. As you move on, it will be quite challenging, even though you could still find your way out. But let's do the needful thing and get the expectations that we've always wished for. My name is Bafo Joseph Japo, but as I always say in my recordings, I always get the name Nana Bafo from a lot of people, sometimes Bafo, sometimes Nana. Others also call me NBA. I'll respond to it irrespective of the name that you give to me among the following words I mentioned. We started with the concept of nation states and others. You've explained state, origin of the state and everything. But we are here to treat the theories of the states and other important things too as well. So let's just make it real quick, because when the video becomes quite longer, it gets boring and sometimes students also get tired of listening to it. So let's hope it becomes an interesting one. Theories of the origin of states. There are a number of theories that explains how the state came into being. These include the divine theory, the social contract theory, the force theory, and the natural theories. The divine theory is going to be our first theory that we are going to discuss. When we say the divine theory, what is the divine theory? The theory states that the state is the creation of God. A state was established by an ordinance or law of God. According to the theory, leaders of the state are appointed by God to rule. Such leaders were not accounted by any human beings, were not accounted to any human beings except God. The theory was popular during the eras of the ancient Oriental empires relating to the East Asia and the Protestant Revolution. So the divine theory just says that the state came into being by the creation of God. It's God who created the state. And to have leaders to rule the people in the state, God was appointed people to rule. So we can relate it to the days of Moses. When God appointed Moses to go and rule the Israelites, go and take them from the Egyptians and rule them and lead them to the promised land. So this one, it is God who appointed Moses to do that. The days of David, the days of Solomon, King Saul, it was that. So those people, they were not really accountable to what? To the people, the days of Elijah, the days of Prophet Eli. They were not appointed to people by God, because it's God who appointed them. That's why when they do something wrong, that's why when Moses did something wrong, he was accountable to God, not the people. It is God who said he will see the promised land, but he will never get there. The people did not have any right to tell Moses that, because Moses was not what accountable to them. But it was God who appointed Moses to come and rule them. So the divine story says that it is God who created the state, and the state was established by an ordinance, laws. Moses wrote the 10 Commandments that the people should what? Should follow. and he was accountable to God, but not the people. And these things they were very popular in the ancient Oriental Empire, the East Asia, and the Protestant Revolution before the Treaty of Westphalia. During the Catholic Church at those times, that was when we had a priest who were leading the people over there, helping them do their day-to-day activities. So that's all about the divine theory. The next theory is the social contract theory. The theory became popular during the 17th and 18th centuries. The theory opposed the idea that the state was a creation of God. Whenever we have a theory and another theory comes, it means they have seen some criticisms. You see some criticisms about that particular theory, so they bring out a new theory to oppose that. So the social contract theory opposed the idea that the state was not the creation of God, but the theories believe that the state was a deliberate creation by human beings and not God. Let me explain that point. They are saying that because they view the formation of the state as a result of mutual agreement among individuals to establish a governing body to maintain order and protect their rights. Yeah, so it's a fascinating perspective that emphasizes the role of individuals in shaping the political structure of society. So there was a deliberate creation by human beings. It is human beings who came together to make a mutual agreement among individuals that you are going to rule us and you are going to rule us based on these certain things. You are going to rule us based on these certain things. You are also going to follow you based on these certain things, but not God. That's what the theorists of the social contract theory are saying. Lack of security explains the creation of the state. The social contract came into being because of lack of security. The idea that the state was created due to lack of security is a key concept of social contract theory, because individuals came together to form the state to ensure the safety of, to ensure their safety and what protection. Because those times, someone could even take your land. Those times, they were not constitutional laws that were governing the people. So people were doing all sort of things. So it was the people who came together. If they are going to sign this agreement, they are going on this agreement that protects my properties and my life, then I also want to obey your laws. That was the mutual agreement. This question, Wallahi, Kwame will ask you, because he has asked all over the years. He told us in our class. He also asked us in the class. I remember he asked this question and no one could answer. That was the key thing that originated the social contract theory. It is the agreement between the people, the ruled, and those who are governed, that the only way we will obey you is when you protect our lives and properties. Because that time, there was a lack of security. So you are going to obey your laws, you are going to obey your rules and regulations and everything, on condition that you assure me you are going to protect my life, you are going to protect my properties. So if there is a war, the state will bring military people to go and fight. If someone is misbehaving, capture them with prison to promote a serene and harmonious environment in the society or in the state. So the lack of security explains the creation of the state. Those who believe the theory were Hobbes, Locke, and Rousseau. The scholars have their own views about social contract. And I know that Kwame has given this reading assignment to you people. Please go and read. He will ask you that what was Rousseau's view of social contract theory from 5 marks during then you have to type. If you've not read it, you wouldn't know. If you've not read Rousseau, Hobbes, and Locke, you wouldn't know the differences between their perspective of the social contract. And you find yourself wanted. So please go and do that reading assignment too as well. This recording session is just a recap of everything. So there are certain details that sometimes we might miss them. But when you go for lectures, go for tutorials, read the book too as well, you get everything, then you are good to go. So that's all about the social contract. The third theory is the force theory. The force theory. The theory came into being through the use of force by strong people. Strong people took advantage of weaker people in the society and ruled them by force. No individual can challenge the authority of the state. So what does this whole force theory mean? As the name follows, the state came into being, came into existence through the application of naked force by strong people by strong people over the weak people in the society. When I say naked force, I mean the raw power and cohesion. So it's like the idea that the state emerged because of the need of security and control over these forces to maintain order and protect individuals in the society. Example is the use of military strength. So the state came into because people were doing all sort of things, and the state had to apply this naked force through the use of military strength to overcome these people, to overcome this unacceptable deeds of certain people in the state, because everyone was just doing the thing anyhow. So the state had to apply force over these people to keep them in line. And after getting them in line, you bring some rules and regulations that they have to follow. And if you don't follow, there are consequences that you are going to meet or you are going to get. So it kept the people in line, and they started to act constitutional. But before that, the state had to use force. When there is military rule, you know, everything is by force. Don't go out, come out at this time, leave town by this time. Like everything is like being at the Bema camp or living at the barracks. They do things according to time. They do things as expected to them. You do not come and complain why you shouldn't be outside. You're not coming to complain and your this day, your master. No. There was force. Don't come out, you don't come out. Come out, you come out. That was how everything was. The last theory, but I do not have it on the slide, is the genetic theory. It postulates that the state is an example, the state is an eventual extension of family. That's through natural process of expansion. And with passage of time, one family will grow to form a village. Then it will move on to become a town. Then by certain years, further years, and a whole lot of expansions and activities will become a city. Then as it grows, as the population begins to increase and activities begin to increase and a whole lot of things, then it eventually turns to a state. So this one is a gradual process, the expansion of natural processes and the passage of time. So at first it was just a family, then it became a village, then they grew up to become a town, then activities were going on, a whole lot of things, became a city, you had people around, then they became a state. That is the genetic theory. So they are the theories I've mentioned. Yes. So the divine theory, the social contract theory, the force theory, and the genetic theory. Right now, let's look at the role of the state. Some of the roles of the state are the maintenance of law and order, the protection of individual rights and liberties, provision of social and economic services, national defense and security, and the last but not the least is international relations. So when we say the maintenance of law and order, what do we mean? No state can be organized properly without law and order. If there's no law and order, who is going to obey your rules and regulations? What will even be the rules and regulations? You are just living our life. You catch any girl, you just rape her, impregnate her, and you just move on. And the lady will go and suffer. Female genital mutilation was also going on. It will also go on if there was no law and order. Someone can just go and take someone's land by force because it's stronger than a person and use the land. If there is no law and order, people could always engage in corruption and bribery with no fear because there is no law and order. But if there is law and order, people cannot do that. So no state can be organized properly without law and order. I think I've already explained everything. The state is responsible for making laws in the state. Which arm of the government makes laws? The legislature through legislation. When I say legislation, it is the what? The process of making law. They get a bill, we read it to the House several times, a whole lot goes through the process, and finally the access of the president, the signature of the president passes the bill to become a law. So it is responsible of the state to do that. Laws are necessary in the state because they regulate human conduct, as I've said. It will regulate the conduct so that when you are engaging in bribery and corruption, you know that if you are being caught, these are the consequences. You cannot just go and take someone's life. You cannot go and rape any girl. 10 years, 15 years, you'll be in prison. So you won't do that. Laws are meant to be obeyed when they are implemented. The state has the power to punish anybody who flouts its laws. Yes, that's why people are always being punished when they disobey the laws in the states. I think the other things also talk about. The second point or the second role of the state is the protection of individual rights and liberties. Rights are conditions that makes it possible. Rights and liberties are necessary for human survival and development. Powers and rights are God-given, that they are given by God. Others are given to us by the state. So what are some of the God-given rights? The right to live, the right to have any religion, like the right to worship any God. God has given us the right. That's why we have people being Christians, Muslims, traditionalists, Buddhists, like all those occults and everything. You have the right to do everything that you want. No one can challenge your worship. No. You have chosen that and you are doing that. That's God giving right and liberties. And the one that the state gives to us is the right to have a property, the right to be employed, the right to work. These are certain things that the state gives to us. That explains point number one. Point number two, that rights and liberties are necessary for human survival. Because if you are not working or you are not being employed, you are not going to get wages and salary to provide for your own needs. If God doesn't give you the right to live, you are going to die. You are going to be wiped off. So these rights and liberties are necessary for human survival. So I think, yeah. So provision of social and economic services. This one too is a very important role or function of the state. This function relates to those activities that promote the general well-being of the people. What are some of these activities? You know very soon. Some of the activities the state undertake with regard to this role include provision of education, building SHS, building JHS, building primary schools, governmental schools, private schools for the people to gain education, building or constructing of roads. It is already the role of the state. So if a government wants to come in power, if we say in the manifesto, I will construct road, I will I will provide education, railway, bridges, houses. They are already your rules. These are the fundamental rules of you. It's like being a Christian. You have to read your Bible. Being a Muslim, you have to what? Read your Quran. Being a traditionalist, you have to pour libation. It is already your role. So you don't expect us to vote for you because you are saying you are going to build roads. Like, but you have to do something extraordinary in your manifesto. You have to say you go to the moon and go and study the moon. Then you learn how to what? To make robots. For the robots to come and do something extraordinary in the state. That is what when you do that, you know that, yeah, we have a government, we have a president. Because these Chinese and those Russians and the Americans, they always are the good. Studying over there, then they'll come and invent something, they'll bring it, then you go and purchase them with high cost. So building of roads, railway, bridges, houses, maintenance of sanitation, healthcare, building hospitals, they are already your functions. So don't come and say you are the developmental government, you are building hospitals, you are building schools. Don't come and say you are the government who is building roads and those kind of things. So you should vote for you. Like one of my ABC rules, me, Bafo, or you, the listener, and I come and say, you are joking. So it's already your role. The other point too is the state provides a sound and favorable environment for economic development to take place. If there is war in your state, I don't think people will want to travel to your place to come and what do economic development. You want to come and build businesses and come and build organizations and other things. You know, but we have a peace environment. That's why you see these Chinese and other European countries coming here to come and what start some businesses and other things here. Those are the Iraq and those people. They always come here because they are places you go and build. You have bombing of grass here. But when you have a peaceful environment, yes, people come in, even the people, the citizens of the state are what are fully assured that they are safe and therefore would want to do all these kind of things. Yes, so these are some of the rules of the state. National defense and security is another factor. That the states protect independence, sovereignty, and the territorial integrity of the citizens. There's this thing so that what you let me give more points. It has a responsibility to mobilize troops against any forces which threatens its authority, either within or outside. The protection is done by the use of cohesive apparatus. That's the police, army, and like that within the state. Yes. So it is the function of the state to protect the independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity of its citizens. The only way you can protect outside your territory is when you are part of these international organizations like the ECOMOG. I know we all know ECOMOG. It deals with the mobilization of these national defense, these military men from countries that are part of it to what? To form a complete arm or army to go and protect rights of people at particular countries. But other than that, the states protect individuals. If the state protects individuals, protects the independence and sovereignty of its citizens. It is the responsibility of the state to mobilize forces towards to any forces which threaten the authority of the state, either within or outside. In Ghana, as example, when people plan coup d'etat, you see life sentence. Outside, when we see that these people are threatening us and want to go war with us, the president as the commander-in-chief can order the military forces to just go and face them to protect ourselves. That is why it has been named over here that the state does that by using the cohesive apparatus such as the army. The vice president is the commander-in-chief for the police services. So he can also order the police to go to maybe so to that these people are misbehaving over there and it's becoming a threat into the state sovereignty or independence. So go and discipline them. Then the police will go. And they can order the army. Army go to Kumasi, Bantima, they are fooling over there. Then we also go and do that. So that's also part of the rules of the state. The last but not the least way is the international relations. The state determines the type of relationship that is expected to exist between it and other states. Such relationship is broad and include trade, commerce, technology, defense, culture, education. Yes. So the president as the head of state represents the state at these international organizations such as AU, the ECOWAS, UN, and all those kind of things. He builds a relationship with the IMF on behalf of the state. He go and make dealings with IMF, World Bank to what? To help the state to as well. So that's another function of the state. So the next subtopic is the similarities and differences between nation and states. If we already look at nation, you look at the features of the nation, we've come to look at the features of the state. So what are some of the similarities that we see? Population. Both state and nation are inhabited by people. There cannot be state or nation without people in it. Now, who are you going to govern? Trees? No, you are not in the zoo. In the zoo, where the animals, the people are also there who are regulating the animals over there. Yes, so population is a key factor. Boundaries. Both have boundaries which define their geographical limits, the exact places they occupy on the surface of the earth. Yes, they are looking for Ghana. You know that this is our territory. You know where you find us in West Africa. In the nation, you know that this is where you find the Ika Dambi. This is where you find the Yoruba. This is where you find the Akant. This is where you find the Dagombes. This is where you find the Hausa. That's how it is. We all have our boundaries. The geographical elements, there are three parts. We have the land, we have the sea, we have the airspace. Let's not forget that. Government. Both have governments which regulate the affairs of their inhabitants or people and take decisions on their behalf. The nation has the chief and the local council elders and all those kind of things to make certain decisions on behalf of the people. The state was the three arms of government, the executive, legislature, and the judiciary, to also make decisions on behalf of the state. So we can see that all these features reflect in both the state and the nation. What are some of the differences between these two entities, state and nation? While state is a recent creation, nation has existed for a very long time. Nation is ancient. I think I've already explained that. The nation is bounded by common history, tradition, blood connection, and in some cases, common language. But the states have other things that unite its inhabitants than those mentioned. Notable among them is the political symbols of the state, the anthem, coat of arms, and the flag. So in a nation, you see they are connected by blood and all those kind of things. They have a homogeneous environment. But in a state, they are diverse of cultures. You have foreigners, you have aliens, you have refugees, and you have citizens who form a state. And besides that, the state also have the anthem, the coat of arms, the flag to also unite the people together to form a formidable state. The third point is state government is more complex and powerful, but government of the nation is weak and inferior. When we look at our government, you see they have been divided into three fields. The executive, because in the local government, the chief can act as everything. He can be acting as the executive arm of government. He could also be acting as the legislative arm of government and the judiciary arm of government. He does everything together. But the state, as it is so complex, we have divided them. We have the three arms of government, separation of powers. They are all performing their own duties. So separation of powers is when we have different personnel and different functions. You cannot be at the executive arm of government and also be at the legislative. Now you have to choose one. That's the whole thing. So it makes it complex. But the other one is weak and inferior. It is weak because if the chief is doing all those kind of things, he sometimes will be embedded with a lot of responsibilities. Therefore, would not act as expected of him because sometimes he even get tired. Sometimes he even makes certain decisions that he himself do not have a lot of knowledge about. But when we have someone being at the judiciary arm of government, he has been schooled, he has been trained, he has the skill at that field. That is where he's working there. The president, as part of the executive arm of government, is also doing his part. That's where his field also starts. The Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Abba Ababe Kingsford, is also doing his part because of what? He's also an expert. He has that experience. So they all give out their best whenever they are functioning. That's about that one too. So the nation uses dialogue, debate, etc. to achieve its objective, but the state uses force when its authority is challenged. Yes, I think this one too is self-explanatory. So the concept of nation states. When we say a nation state, what is a nation state? A nation state is a state with population same as a nation. It is an entity that combines the features of both a nation and a state. A state whose population is largely made up of one ethnic group is also known as a nation state. Example, Poland, Portugal, North and South Korea. So that's a nation state. A nation state is a state whose population is the same as a nation. So a state with a population predominantly composed of one ethnic group is what is referred to as a nation state. Poland and Portugal, they have strong cultural and ethnic homogeneous or homogeneity within their population. When you enter the state, when you enter Portugal, they have one culture. I see majority of them, let's say for instance, if it was to be Ghana, majority of us are coming from the Akan. Almost everybody is coming from the Akan. And we are all having the same culture and everything. So if you are all having the same culture, yes, we are enough. We have this big territory. We have a lot of people. We have resources. We have these governments. We have separated governments, separated arm of government to regulate the day-to-day activities of the state. Then we could regard it as a nation state, even though we have one ethnic group ruling, but we still have the features to become a state. That is a nation state. What is nationless state? A nationless state is a state that lacks features of a nation. Example, South Africa, India, Nigeria. Why do they lack these things? Due to its complexity. It's so complex to become a nation. So therefore becomes a nationless state. Its diverse cultural practices and ethnic groups. You see, these people, Nigeria, for instance, have several cultural practices and ethnic groups. India, South Africa, their population is a lot. China, they have several cultural practices. For Nigeria, we have people coming from the Hausa, the Yoruba, and the other one. I always forget. There are always three. I've mentioned it in my previous report. I know by this time someone listening is trying to tell me, but I'm also not getting it right now. I'm trying to make references to my notes, but I'm not seeing it to. Yes. But it's even in the slides. You have the Yoruba, you have the Hausa, and the last one. I know you've added it. I'll make reference to that. We are all human. Sometimes we forget. Yes. So that is it. They cannot be a nation because of its complexity, diverse cultural practices, and ethnic groups. That's a nationless state. What is a stateless nation? A stateless nation, these nations seeking to attain statehood, but not have been successful yet. Example, the Palestinians, the Catalans of Spain, and the QB in Canada. Yeah. So why can't they be a state? Why are they not a state? Look at Palestine. They've always fought. They've always been engaged in wars. They destroy their natural resources. They cannot live at one place. They move from one place to the other. They are regarded as nation because they share the same cultural practice. They are connected by one blood. Wherever they go, they keep on protecting their cultural and ethnic practices. That makes them a nation, but they cannot become a state because they do not have the needful features to become a state. The subtopic is also engage ourselves with the state capacity. When we say state capacity, according to Buttigieg, state capacity is the ability of a government to implement its policies and accomplish its goals. Question about 20 states. The ability of a government to implement its policies and accomplish its goals is power. B, state capacity. C, provision of implement of laws and properties, implement of laws and policies. D, all of the above. E, none of the above. So if you don't know, you don't know. Sometimes we will not give it to you direct like this. You can give it like the president of Ghana has implemented a policy that e-levy is going to be abolished. Which of the following definitions in political science explains the act of the president? B, A, sovereignty. B, rule of law. C, state capacity. D, all of the above. E, none of the above. You see this? So he could give you a practical question. That's why you always say read and apply. Read and relate. So you're not always going to get the definition that he give you the no. Can give you a classical example using the president. Can even give you American politics B, then you tell you to relate it to this. And it's going to be fantastic over there in the room. So there are 4 broad dimensions of state capacity, namely regulatory, administrative, technical, and extractive state capacity. Let's go through the 4, then I think we are done for this recording. So the regulatory capacity, it deals with the ability of the state to make and enforce rules to regulate the social conduct. It is the ability of the state to ensure existence of rule of law and maintenance of such rules. Yes, so the legislative arm of government is making the laws, then we implement the laws and make it very, very effective in the state. And when we're able to do that, we know that we are doing the regulatory capacity because the state has been able to implement laws in the states and enforce it on the people. Administrative capacity, it relates with the ability of the state to manage its people and resources to ensure accountability and efficiency. So at the end of the day, the MPP is going to be accountable. They are going to give an account of how they've used our resources, how they've managed everything. Accountability is being responsible for your actions and inactions. So you cannot come and tell us you are not able to do this. Yes, you are not able to do that. That's why you're being accountable for that. You did that and you are accountable, you are giving an account of whatever you did. So the ability of the state to manage its people and resources, you manage the resources, our natural resources, our mineral resources, the ability of you to manage them and even the people and their businesses that they have in the state to ensure accountability and efficiency is administrative capacity. Technical capacity comprises the expertise and knowledge needed to make technical decisions. It relates to the tools for making and implementing public policies. So you want to implement a policy in the education ministry, you cannot go and take someone from maybe the agriculture ministry. It has to be the Minister of Education with 8 respective employees that the president has to consult that free education. You want to make free education a policy. So how do we do that? So the Ministry of Education will go check their expenses. They will go and make a budget that we have this number of senior high schools in the country, and we are going to provide them with breakfast, lunch, and supper each and every day. So these are certain things that we need. These are the books that we have to care for them, all those kind of things. They are expertise and they have the knowledge about it. So we need them to do those things. So if you have these people to perform these particular functions at these various sectors respectively, then there's a technical capacity because you are using the expert, they have the knowledge and skills about it to make these decisions and implement these public policies. The last but not the least is the extractive capacity. It refers to the ability of the state to raise revenue for the administration of the state, paying of taxes, charging these extracted goods that people come to extract from our country, the fee and all those kind of things. They are all one way or the other the ways the government used to raise revenue to administer the state. I think we have done a whole lot. We have done the theories, the four theories. We have done the roles of the state. We have done the similarities between the state and the nation. We've also done the differences. We've talked about the nationless state. We've talked about the state nation. We've also talked about the stateless nation. And we've talked about state capacity and the four broad dimensions of state capacity: the administrative, technical, extractive, and regulatory capacity. Yes. So our next recording is going to be the concept of power, influence, authority, legitimacy, and sovereignty. It's going to be an interesting session. But nevertheless, I want to thank you all for patiently listening to this recording and making this academic showdown agenda for Poli 111 a successful one. Let's keep going. Let's tell our friends to join our platform and also engage themselves in this particular online studies that we have. Thank you so much, and I will see you some other time. Have a pleasant day. Bye.